this computer. Well, I think if I counted right, this is number 195 or 196 of these weekly get-togethers. I hope everybody's taking notes because there'll be a test at the end.
Oh, no test.
Okay, in episode 127, it's always great. You have all these people like Star Trek fans, and they can say, and everything. In episode one, whatever he did this and that, and the actress will say it was just a job. I don't remember anything about it. And I've talked to a bunch of them over times, and when they find out you're like a Star Trek fan, they'll be okay, and they want to find out if you're a fan or a fanatic because you can some of these people and they'll say like I don't even remember shooting that episode. I went to work, I don't remember anything about it. And then they try to put into perspective, okay, what did you do on October 8th 1982 at your day at work? So like I said, it's fun talking to some of them. But let me pull up the pictures here for today, and we are going to jump back into the 64-65 World's Fair. Let me go share screen. This particular batch is mixed year. They were all over the place. But these are restored Instamatic pictures. The Instamatic 127 format, I guess, it just come out real soon before the fair, and was a real big big item for increasing film sales. When I was interviewing at Kodak for a job in I guess it was 73, they were talking about if they could only find another hit the way the Instamatic had been, because their sales went absolutely up through the roof when this thing came out. So they said they had several big milestones. One was color, one was the Instamatic, and then of course digital came by and their numbers fell right down, which is ironic because Kodak invented the first digital camera. So the New York State Pavilion taken from the Missouri Pavilion, and there's the VIP level down at the bottom. It says that these kind of hop all over the place. They're multiple years and multiple locations. This one, if you're familiar with telephoto lenses, you can probably appreciate this because it makes the General Motors Pavilion look like it's right next door to the Westinghouse Pavilion, but you've got the whole Grand Central Parkway in between. So telescopic lenses, zoom lenses, can really collapse the size of an image.
Is that an antenna sticking out of the top? Looks like an antenna.
Oh, that is the wire. Good question. That is the wire holding the bottom of the time capsule, which is suspended over this granite marker. So they had the time capsule ready to go into the ground, but it was hung there from this wire during the time of the fair. If you go to the park today, this water is taken out. You can walk up and climb on the time capsule. The benches around it, or you can see, or in the background, they've cut two holes in it so you can walk up there. The actual time capsule, if you can see where my mouse is, the 39 capsule is underneath here, and the 64 capsule is about over here. So if you're going to go dig up the time capsule, save yourself the trouble and don't move the granite. Just dig down about over here. Then you have Telstar. That was a real big thing. They had two Telstar replicas, one at the New Jersey Pavilion because it had been invented and built by Bell Labs out of New Jersey. And they also had one at the AT&T Pavilion. And, again, we get spoiled today where you can have your reporter standing there in Greece talking about the hantavirus problem, and they're live and they can talk back and forth. Well, Telstar was not in synchronous orbit, and you would have to book time with the operator, and you had about 12 minutes, I think, where it was in range that you could pick up stuff. So, but it was the first time they could do a live broadcast from England and show you the Queen of England live and see her over here in the States. So Telstar was a big thing for 64.
Is that real or just a mock-up?
That's just a mock-up. Yeah, that's a mock-up. But it's obviously done with a lot of detail because again they built these mock-ups and they do a lot of work with them to make sure they'll fit into the rocket and all that sort of stuff. Which takes me back, just funny ask about fitting things. We had, one of my jobs was, designing atomic submarines and building them and, the missile subs. And they found out to their horror in one issue that they had built a submarine and had not worked out how to put the torpedoes in it, and that the torpedoes were too long to go down the hatch, that you would have to put them in the torpedo room. So they fixed that at great expense. But when we were building the newest submarine, we built an entire submarine out of wood and simulated, if they figured out it was going to be enough wood, it was for something like 300 single family houses. But we had to build the entire submarine, all 300 feet of it, out of wood to make sure that every hatch and everything would work. So it was funny. We were saying we could just paint it and sell it to the Russians. It was a lot of wood. Here's for Jim. He had a picture of travelers there. And inside Travelers, I think Wayne, you probably recognize this shot from Chicago. They had the history of man, and here the repelling an attack, and the what you call it, the poor guy here is he's going down, but good. Then the tower for the Billy Graham Pavilion, and over to the back, American Express. Looks like it had been raining out, so I have somewhere in my stuff one of these World's Fair raincoats with all these little symbols on it, or little unispheres. But I thought this was a nice one because it has the serpentine phone booths. But if we zoom in a little, you can see some of the displays inside the Singer Pavilion, which was all about the advances of sewing machines and fabrics and things like that along the world over time.
These
And
must have been taken with a high-end Instamatic. The quality is just great.
yeah, they really are. When Instamatics came out, they produced basically two lines of them. One was the El Cheapo one for the average public, plastic lenses, manual advance, just a fixed shutter speed, fixed everything. And then they also came up with a higher end one, which had a motor driven thing. I mean, that I never could afford that, but I'd look at somebody with it. They were really cool. They had glass lenses, motor drive, sensors for the light levels, adjust the speed and everything. They didn't sell anywhere near as well because they were so expensive. But yeah, they came out really nicely, didn't they, Wayne?
Yeah, when you see pictures from the cheap models, they're not sharp all the way to the edge like these.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can see there's a little issue here over here that these people are a little blurry, and it gets a little blurry here. It's real sharp here. So, again, it's small. It's really weird. I bought a batch of films here, and I wanted to. Somebody advertised a big thing of films. It's about 3 pounds of negatives, and all I wanted was a roll from Disneyland from 1958. But I got all these others. But there's a whole bunch of films in there where each of the images are smaller than the fingernail on my little finger, and I feel like I have like James Bond's spy camera here or something. And I'm gonna try to enlarge them to see what the hell's on them. But I mean, I don't imagine you can get a tremendous amount of stuff out of a negative that size, unless
And
you're.
it's kind of like the Viewmasters. They're great with the nominal enlargement, but if you try to blow them up, they just fall apart.
Yeah. Continental Insurance, the Spirit of '76. This is the backside of Equitable Insurance. The other side here, which says the Equitable Demograph, is where we always see the sign with the numbers of how many people lived in the United States at that point in time. But this was their VIP lounge out here in the back area. So zoom in a little. So they had a place inside where they had offices and that sort of thing for prospective customers and that, but you could get a snack and bring it out here, and then the curtains would open up for the nighttime views.
I'm trying to figure out where that was, what's behind the photographer.
Yeah. And here's the Singer Bowl. This has all sorts of World's Fair goodies in it. So if we zoom in a little, we can see that there's a Kodak picture spot. We need to make sure we take our picture. We have our World's Fair trash cans. I'm not sure what this is over here with this white thing, whatever this is. I mean, this looks like a trash can. It looks like the door might be open, but I have no idea what this would be. And there's something on this trash can over here sticking out on the side. So not sure what signs or something's put up for some event or something. But people sure dressed nicely though, didn't they? And Simmons, Land of Enchantment, and rest alcoves where you could rent a room for half an hour and take a nap. Down below here, you can see the little guy, the little elf here that was telling you to come on into the Enchanted Forest, and they would tell you how all of the elves were responsible for making the soft paper and not the paper, the beds and everything were so good
We would
inside.
spend money to go into the fair just to take a nap.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out because nobody did. That was the whole thing. They did it and they really downplayed the rest alcoves in the second season. But if you go on my site, I have the whole press kit where they talk about how the linens change between each guest, and they have these women with white gloves making the beds and everything. And it turned out to be a kind of dumb idea. First of all, a half an
It's
hour. I don't know about you guys. If I had a half an
like a,
hour, it would take
like
me
a cheap
18 minutes to
motel.
fall asleep.
It's like a cheap motel.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the World's Fair after parties had a lot of fun there.
I bet they did. And one of my favorite pavilions, the Bell System. So we talked about last week the microwave tower. There's the Jane Parker sign in the background. You can see how close we are to the airport. Over here, oh, Ken Carpenter's joining us. This walkway here was how they put all the fireworks in the launchers. So this is a tidal river, the Flushing River. So they would close the intake valves. The water would flow out when the tide went out, and the water would drop down. You can see kind of a dark line here around the edge. They'd climb over this fence, come out here with a supply of fireworks loaded up. When they were done, they would open up the gates, the water would come in, and all the walkway would disappear, so that it looked like the fountains were all out there just on their own. They also had a rowboat that I've got pictures of, where they would row around here picking up all the trash and stuff that people wanted and dropped in. But this was
That little walkway still there today.
nope, it's all gone, taken out. But they came up with this idea in the 39 fair, and it worked so well they did it again for the 64. And again, you can date some of these things by different points in time. I can date this one to 1965 because this Polaris missile was added for 65. So up here we have the Moon and Beyond, the CinemaScope film. I look at these things now and think, boy, you don't know how your life goes. But in 65, this was an idle curiosity. In 73, I was designing its replacement. So things change. The American Express money tree, $1 million of currency from around the world, sealed in plastic. Mitch Silverstein has at least two of the pieces of money. I'm not sure where it all went, but they sold it off after the fair. During this year between the season, the winter between seasons, they had to secure this tree because they were concerned this was absolute real money, and they were concerned that workers would just come by and help themselves. So they built a metal cage around it and had to take it off again. And our beloved New York State Pavilion, old ancient fire truck up on the mezzanine. Coca-Cola, I've had somebody wrote to me and was looking for pictures of Coca-Cola, and it was one of the pavilions they remembered best from the fair. And it's always interesting because I thought it was one of the dullest pavilions. This person said, was really absolutely thrilled with it. One of the things they remembered was the smell as we went into the one land where Coke was sold in Europe. You got the smell of fresh pine trees. Another one, you got fresh orange trees. The one I always got a kick of was Hong Kong. You had the smell of fish. But I learned over the years what I think is boring, other people think is great, and vice versa. The Carillon, the bell tower, which is not too far from Beth these days. DuPont, this rotated. This is First National City Bank had two branches at the fair. One was intended for the general public to come and find out about the wonderful things of the bank, and the other one was the banking center for the fair itself. So this is the public one. Over here is one of the first ATMs out here. But then they had this globe out here with little things everywhere that you could go and bank through this bank. Anybody want to guess where this is? Festival of Gas. They had a zoo inside to entertain kids, and they had giant stuffed animals. So I have no idea what story it tells or how it's connected to gas, but this is the Festival of Gas. Here we are inside Coke, the exhibit for the Taj Mahal, where you could go and again see where Coke was sold around the world. Back to the Festival of Gas. This is a giant piece of plastic out here, a sculpture that they did. One of those things where you just wonder where it ever came or where it went after the fair. Back over to Scott Paper now. Little elves are making happy paper for us. As mentioned in prior weeks, there's never anybody up on this level. I think I have two pictures of people up there. This looks like a pretty nice day. People are enjoying themselves out here. Again, you try to figure out from some of these things. We do have a nun. Last week I was talking
What
about
did they intend that lower level for? Just overflow crowds?
what's that?
What did they intend the lower level on the tower to be? Just for overflow crowds?
I have to turn on my speaker. Sorry, I have bought new speakers for the computer, and I have to dig the old ones out and put them in. So let me turn this up. It distorts a bit. So go ahead.
Yeah, the lower level on the tower. What did they intend that for? Just for overflow?
No, well, it was intended to be there for actual use. It had a set of vending machines on it and stuff, and for whatever reason, they decided not to use it. So it was intended. The lowest level is VIP. The top ones were just for the public, but for whatever reason, at one tower, they just very quickly discontinued the use on it.
Those platforms were suspended by cables off beams at the top of the tower, weren't they?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Okay, so instead of using the elevator, they could have made the whole platform just go up and down from the ground.
You would need a hell of a motor.
It's on a cable anyway.
Yeah.
They built them on the ground and lifted them up.
Yeah. So, hey, Joey, do you have any of these size lights in your collection?
That probably could light the whole facade of my house.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So we have a nun here. Last week, by the way, somebody said that people in the different costumes were acolytes, nuns in waiting. These guys, boy, they've either got name tags or they've got handkerchiefs in their pockets here. Oh, here's one you don't see very often. This is Dick Button's Ice Extravaganza. One of the first shows to close at the fair was inside the New York City Pavilion, and they had this big ice show where they came out and did a whole routine. Again, wasn't there very long because people, I'm going to go pay money to go see a bunch of ice skaters. The Ice Capades come to town every year. I'm going to go see them. Today I'm gonna go see Mr. Lincoln or something rare.
Did they ever film that show that you, to your knowledge, do a uh moving picture of the whole show
I
or
imagine
historic?
Dick Buttons or somebody probably did, but I've never found one.
I'd
Again,
just be curious as to whether it was really worth seeing in the first, it might have been a combination of what you were saying and also that maybe it just wasn't a very good show, not very exciting and glamorous. And so people went
doesn't-
like, we'll see
it
the
doesn't-
escapades when they come to town.
it doesn't look anywhere near the ice capades. So I don't know if it's on this roll, but we'll see the ice skating monkey, in another shot. So
Ooh.
yeah, so here again, you wish you knew what they were all doing, but the guy here in a white coat and setting up this ladder, and these gals are bringing it out. And then here, it was a pretty big size thing. You see these banners that they're all doing here. I know the monkey's got to be in another roll. Maybe we'll see the monkey today. But we go over to Jersey. Really nice day over at Chrysler. This is inside the Travel and Transportation Pavilion. So this was kind of clever. They had all these little pictures of places you could travel to, and a couple of them were mirrored so you get a picture of yourself taking pictures of it. And then these things with the weird cone-shaped things were, again, more displays about travel and places you could go. And just down the road inside the pavilion was the United Airlines counter where they would happily get you there. More of the mezzanine, the blue globes.
Bill, I've been thinking about what you were, the question Irv raised about the second platform or the middle platform. The same elevator went to both locations, is that correct?
Yeah.
I would wonder that people didn't ride up, get off at that level and realize, oh, I wanted to be on the top level. And so that they got a lot of complaints from people saying, hey, we don't, you don't make it clear, or, why couldn't I get up to the top level or whatever, for whatever
Yeah.
reason. And that maybe they were anticipating what kind of flow through that they felt they needed to have the extra space. And it turned out, no, the flow through wasn't that much because the elevators might have made it more self-limiting as, how much time you're going to spend up there when you got a whole fare to see it, even though it's a beautiful view. You've got a whole fare you want to go see. So you're not going to spend an hour or two up on that platform, that they didn't really need the capacity. And like I say, people were complaining that, hey, I wanted to see the top platform and I got off at the wrong one and I was stuck.
Yeah, and then if I want to go
There
to
was
the
no
top
stairway between the platforms either. You couldn't climb between the platforms.
No, there
No
was a
steps.
staircase, but they didn't let you use it. But you could be right, Brock, because people say I want to go up and see the next one, and the elevator could come up full, and there could maybe not be room for you to get up,
Yeah.
from it. This one shows
Mhm.
it's real early during the fair, and the hint here is all the display cabinets inside the New York State Pavilion don't have the displays in them yet. They just have these glass and with X's of tape to show you that there is glass there. So down below, you can see an orchestra setting up. They later ended up putting a different thing in with a backdrop and stuff for it. But again, these pictures just bounced around all between the years. So Jim has spent many hours in this pavilion, and I'm sure this is a different view for you. And we hop over again, mention that these are all over the place. We get into the travel and transportation area. So we have Wings and Motion, I think it's called, and then the SKF Ball Bearing Pavilion. And then down here, oh, come on, zoom, you can do it. World's Fair hats, these show up a lot. These are not the really, really cool hats because they don't have feathers, but they would put your name on them. And people more wealthy than I was taking their Greyhound ride around. Okay, guys, I can tell you these are Chrysler products.
One of them's a Dodge and the other's a Plymouth, I think. smaller. The one you're seeing the full side on is the Plymouth, I
Okay,
believe Valiant, wasn't that what it was called? Somebody else that might recognize it. And I think the other one might be the Polaris, the Dodge Polaris. It could also be another Plymouth. Plymouth had a version that was very similar to the Dodge Polaris, same,
they're kind of dull drab colors.
I was just gonna say the same thing. It's like, yeah, just gray, plain gray car.
It's like people tell us, oh, it was a speeding Tesla, it was white. Oh, thank you. You know, this was a private car. As you can see, it's the back end of what they call a parlor car from the Long Island Railroad. Down below here, they had the route of the Dashing Commuter, and that was Dashing Dan. He was on all of the Long Island Railroad stuff for many years. And then as women came into the workforce, they started complaining, you know, what's this? So they ended up with the besides Dashing Dan, you had Dashing Dottie. And so they started putting out their brochures and stuff with both the guy running and a woman running, and her hat's coming off as she's running. It was kind of a cute thing they did for a number of years. This was a real rail car that you know, people would take VIP trips on. They put it there at the fair. After the fair, it was moved to a playground on Long Island. That and the engine that were part of it. And after the playground moves, the Oyster Bay Railroad Museum tried to salvage this car, and when they tried to move it, it basically collapsed in a pile of rust. So the engine is still there and restored. It's really, they did a really nice job on it. But this train car is now history. That's the end of that one. So let's see, what do we have now? More various dates. This is one that doesn't show up a lot, Malaysia. I don't know why some pavilions show up all the time and others don't, whether it was just too much around it or different or whatever. But after the fair ended, this became a college in Plano, Texas. So weird how things move around. You'd look at it and you never think, oh, that's a college building. Well, they just left the rooftop off and bought the building and moved it. House of Japan. We spent a lot of time at the Japan Pavilion because my dad worked for a Japanese shipping company, and a lot of his clients and stuff that they brought stuff over had displays in there. So he was very, very proud of telling us, I brought that over here. I did this. He was in the marine. His entire career was marine shipping and insurance. Some of these are obviously self-explanatory. Outside of the Belgian pavilion, so again, you could get your Belgian waffles and everything else. I think if we see down below here, we have ice cream and stuff, and crepes, all sorts of odds and ends, more nuns. Republic of the Sudan. Family phone booth. Major invention. Speakerphone. My aunt worked for the Bell system, and I remember we went into in there and called her just to tell we were there, and it was really neat to have well, we had the whole family, so there were 7 of us in there on the bench talking to her. But the neatest thing was also air conditioned, and it was only 10 cents back then for a phone call. So
is that village based on a real village?
no, it was basically a reproduction of there were, I think, 3 different villages that they took pieces of. They're actually real buildings. That they went over to Belgium and they took plaster molds of the real buildings, and then they did it for the 33 Chicago Fair, reused them for the Expo 58, and then used them again for this. But so this would be a copy of a real church. This would be a copy of a real bell tower. but they weren't necessarily all in one village together. As I said, I think it was 3 separate villages that they modeled this after. And originally they had high hopes that all these things would be, full of restaurants and shops and everything, but they got open so late. There was 2 gals that wrote online. I trying to remember, oh, how long ago I saw it. They came from all the way from someplace like Iowa, or Illinois, somewhere. They came here to the fair and did not realize how expensive the fair was going to be. So 2 workers in the Belgian village said, "Oh, you can just sleep, in the building here." And they said it was totally unfinished, just a bare wood floor, and the light shone through the windows. But they were able to stay an extra 4 or 5 days in New York. The workers just told them, "Don't come out at night. Whatever you do, use the bathroom beforehand." But they thought that was really cool that they were able to spend 4 nights or so sleeping upstairs in the Belgian village. I had only known that. All my parents would never let me do it. They would have killed me if I went to the fair and didn't come home for a day. But just think about it, how cool that would be. For the 39 fair, the Boy Scouts got to stay on the fairground at night because they had tents set up and everything. And I just think that would have been the greatest thing. For the 64 fair, they put us out on an army base. We had to, leave at the end of the day. But I just think how cool it'd be to be staying at the fair and wander around. Looking from Vatican over. Pretty amazing when you think that this only was open for about 8 months, part of 64 and and then all of the 65 season.
Now, that whole complex would have been worth saving.
Yeah. Now, the bell tower here, mentioned in prior talk, the fair closed and they came to take the bells out of the bell tower and they were gone. Somebody had cut the cables, dropped them down to the ground, and then they stolen the bells, and they never have shown up. They were probably melted down. There's a very scientific paper that was produced, though, where this tower, I mean, it looks like it's all stone and everything, but it's a steel tower with this facade on it. And they did a study, I think it was USC, I think it was USC, it might have been UCLA. One of the schools out here did a study on how steel frame buildings react in earthquakes. And they put pressure transducers all up and down this building, a couple of the others at the Belgian village, and basically shook them to pieces to simulate an earthquake. And they were talking about P waves and this factor and that. I checked it out of the LA Public Library one time, and it was so far over my head. Wow. I wish I had made a copy. But that was kind of interesting that they went all the way to New York to shake this building apart to simulate skyscrapers and earthquakes. So even in its death, the Belgian village, they served a purpose.
Yeah, I heard about that before. It was a very rare opportunity to take an actual building and do this type of test.
Yeah. Yeah, most people won't let you do that, will they?
Huh.
And this one, it's again nice. Again, the amount of detail you can pick up from a good negative here. Dressed wax statuettes, the history of the dresses, special collection dolls, the real Belgian wooden shoes, forged iron from Belgium, beautiful romantic mirrors. I mean, I gotta go see that. When I get my time machine, I'm going back. The Gillies dancers. Whoops. Come on. There we go. I always wondered, the rugby man, did it have anything to do with the game rugby? And this is over in Japan. They had this very elaborate model of the Nikko Shrine. I've got the press release. I think it's on my site, and it talked about how many hundreds of workers it took, how many thousands of hours, and how much millions of dollars of gold, not millions, but hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gold or whatever. But this was something that it took quite a while to put together. You'd like to think it still exists somewhere.
So this was a scale model of it,
Yes, that's right.
and you said it was from Nikko?
Yeah, Nikko.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
kind of,
we went there when I was over in Tokyo installing Tokyo Disneyland. We took a weekend with Diane's parents had come over and to visit, and we went to Nikko. And what I found very interesting was you can see how kind of in a sense gaudy, or if you want to say it in one sense, but very bright. There was also other buildings there that were in bright reds and oranges and yellows in this beautiful forested area. And yet when you went to Tokyo and you went into where the Meiji Shrine is, the Meiji Shrine is this natural wood shrine that kind of blends in with its environment. You kind of go like, that's weird. Shouldn't the two be like just opposed to one another?
Yeah.
That the gaudy ones are in the city and the natural ones are out in the beautiful forest, but that's the way it was.
yeah, I went to the one in Tokyo, and I found that to be kind of moving. All these people are going out there and taking little origami figures and putting it on a wall to honor their ancestors and stuff. It
Yeah.
was fun to see. You can see this is here's some of the reds and stuff you mentioned. It's a pretty large size model here.
Yeah. And it did, maybe they did it because it allowed it to stand out in the forest versus blending in, but it just seemed like isn't this just backwards? Don't
Yeah.
you want it to, because the Japanese usually are, they're so in tune with their environment, and you think of it being something that they'd want it to blend into part of nature, and nope, we want this one bright and the one in the city can be drab. That's okay.
It's different. Now we're going to hop over inside the Vatican. So they had here for the Vatican Ecumenical Council. Lots of people in papal type costumes. Then again, the Pieta getting a shot through the glass was you had to be right up to it. If you're in one of the back rows, you end up with all the reflections and everything. But that again is the bulletproof glass that kept the hoi polloi away from it, which is ironic because when they moved it back to Rome, they didn't protect it, and that's where the guy whacked it with a hammer. And outside, just helping a woman this past week with a paper they're doing on China's exhibitions and World's Fairs, and I just get a kick out of some of the research requests and everything that people come up with, and people I haven't been able to find this, and I can help you. So people working their doctorates, I get a lot of requests for doctoral assistance. Matter of fact, she needed pictures of the interior of the Hong Kong pavilion. Obligatory shot. I'm sure right next to us is the Kodak picture place sign. Mormon temple. Look at that light. Oh boy, I'd love to have that in the backyard. Okay. Now we're gonna go, I can actually date this one. Sometimes I can get it down to the year, the month, but this one, October 3rd, 1964. Somebody was nice enough to don't label it exactly. She looks mad. Oh. All the dancers up at the top of or acrobats at the top of the pole for Mexico are going to come swinging down. Side of Sudan. And all these happy kids, I don't have any idea what that has to do with watches or anything, but they look like they're all having a good time. Again, more of the Mexico coming down. There weren't very many cloudy days, or I guess I've got a bunch of them where it's totally overcast or it's totally blue, but there's not a lot of days where you can see nice big puffy thunderclouds or anything. This is Greece. They again, for whatever reason, for 65, they covered over the wall here. So, but now during the daytime, you can see some of the exhibits inside. I don't know if we can see the menu prices over here. Nope, just for $1, you can get a whole bunch of something.
Everything's a dollar.
Yeah. Somebody's having a tiring day.
She's looking for the place where she can nap for a half an hour.
Yeah, where's that Simmons thing? Again, mentioned last week about the sign here. You can see they had these lights still illuminated, but you know, there's supposed to be 3 of them. 2 of them are broken off and gone. This one's lying on its side. So that's where, again, they put railings around there. They did everything they could. But again, you plan things and the public has other thoughts. I mentioned
What happened to the Eagle emblem?
we don't know. It was there after the fair ended and it disappeared one night and nobody knows. Somebody swore that their uncle took it and had it in his basement in Staten Island. Whether or not that's true or not, or it's probably melted down.
What is it, brass? Probably.
Brass or bronze, I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm sure it's in the press release. I'd have to go look it up.
My mother told me to get rid of it, so I melted it down.
Thanks. It's kind of large too.
Yeah, you brought that home on your bicycle handlebars, huh?
Yeah, it flattened my wheels and bent my my bike handlebars a little bit.
I bet it
Probably
would.
weighs well over 1,000 pounds.
He did want it in the basement, but it wouldn't fit. It was taller than the basement was, so he had to melt it down.
My
But
college-
do you still have the lights?
Yeah, yeah, he kept the lights. My college roommate's father decided they were going to build a speedboat, and they built it in his basement. This is no joke. And I said something about how are you going to get that upstairs? And his father didn't like me for a variety of reasons. He didn't like anybody, but he was like, "Don't you think I know what the hell I'm doing?" I said, "Well, I just don't think." Oh, he shut up. They finished the boat and they couldn't get it up the stairs and out of the house. So it was made out of fiberglass and they cut the boat in half and they took the front half out, they took the back half out, and they put it in the backyard and glued it all together and refiberglassed it and everything. And they took it out on the Long Island Sound, and the first medium-sized wave they hit, the boat broke in half, the seam and sunk. My buddy Bob said, "Whatever you do, don't ever mention that boat ever again." But I just remember being a doubting Thomas, it's not going to work. Now we're going to go to September 29th, 2002, visit back to the fairgrounds on one of my many visits to the fair. This left from the years between the fairs. When the 39 fair finished, they put the ice skating rink in there, and then they opened up again after the fair. I don't know where that sign's gone now, Joey. It's not.
No. Yeah, I that sign and the other one, the decorative one of the
Yeah.
skater. They just we used to look at them for years. And then one day when they did renovations on the building, they were gone.
Yeah, I hope some idiot didn't just chuck it into a dumpster.
Yeah.
And here's the plaque for the 2 detectives that were blown up on the 4th of July, 1940. Unsolved crime, it's still on the list of open cases for the NYPD. The bridge over to the amphitheater area. Now these cars are probably no challenge to you guys. And again, the VIP level here.
That looks shorter than it actually is.
Yeah. Well, again, you've got, who knows how much vegetation or ever covering up the base of it. And if I remember right, this is the former site of General Motors, which is now baseball field. Then there's a number of these signs that are scattered around the fair site. This is, again, this is called the Fountain of Planet of the Apes. Henry Stern, who was the head of the Parks Commission for whatever number of years, came up with this name. Nothing to do with Planet of the Apes. It was not filmed there, anything done with it, but during the fair was, they had a fountain at either side, one near Ford, one near General Motors.
Well, the other fountain, Bill, is he was a big film fan, and the other fountain he called the Fountain of the Grapes of Wrath.
That's right,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's very interesting.
Makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Nice, quiet, calm day in the park. Now you can see last week I mentioned how the concrete bases had been taken off. They're gone by this point in time. So you can see all the structural work that was up here. And the sign here telling us about all the things they're going to do. Again, it annoys me, you know, why couldn't you put World's Fair capitals or whatever? But years of upheaval and change. And then here's, this is wrong. The two shorter towers held cafeterias for the fair. Absolutely untrue. There was never a cafeteria. There was a small eating area in the VIP pavilion, but basically they had to bring the food in there and heat it with sterno and stuff. It didn't have a full, you know, fledged kitchen and everything. And then the other ones, like I said, up at the top, you had a bunch of vending machines, but there was never a cafeteria. There was a cafeteria inside down on the tent level. But again, you wonder who came and put these things together. And I would say here, approximately 6 million people visited the New York State Pavilion. That is so far wrong. I mean, yeah, I mean, the fair brought in, what, it was 60 million people. I don't think that only 1 out of 10 people went to the New York State Pavilion. So, I mean, everybody from New York went there. So you just look at all these things and say, who the hell did all this stuff?
The guy that gave him the notes of the information had 6 million there, but the guy miscounted the number of zeros. So when he
Yeah.
put it into letters, it became, I mean, 60 million and he made it 6 million.
Yeah. Yeah, you just wonder how they, you know, how some of these things get changed like that.
Well, it's interesting you were making comment about how the New York World's Fair wasn't capitalized. Yet you look at some of these other things like Council of the International Recreation for International Recreation Culture and Lifelong Education. Why that's all capitalized, but they don't capitalize the World's Fair.
Yeah.
Are they still
Carol.
talking about the wood pilings rotting away under the columns?
Yep. Still
Remember
trying
they
to
were
figure
saying
that
that
out.
they're probably well rotted by now.
Yeah, they've done all sorts of studies and boring and stuff. Oh, Giuliani, let's get out of there. Here's
So
the
why did they remove the concrete from the bottom of those towers?
pieces were falling off.
Oh, okay.
So it was done for a safety measure. You can imagine if somebody's walking by and a chunk of concrete came dropping down from that. But again, if you zoom in on it,
So why did they have concrete in the first place? Just for looks?
look nicer. It looked nicer. You didn't get to see all the stuff up here, particularly on the VIP level, because it did have a bathroom and stuff in there. You can see plumbing and stuff. But yeah, it was just
Was it actually concrete or was it plaster?
concrete.
It
Yeah.
was. That's weird. You would think they would have to have had some reinforcing in there. Why it would have even started coming apart? It's not like they have earthquakes in New York all the time.
No, but you get heat and what you call it, cold. If there was any sort of crack in it, just like why do you end up with potholes and roads? You
Yeah.
think any water got in there during the winter, freezes and starts breaking the concrete apart. So now you've got these platforms up there hanging there. The roofs are gone. This rain comes in, pulls in, gets in the concrete, expands in winter, and out comes a piece of concrete.
Yeah, that would make sense. I didn't think about the fact that water got in there, but yes, it
Yeah.
probably did.
Yeah. Here's the station for the elevator with the obligatory maple leaf on it.
That's the Canadian entrance to the New York Pavilion.
I went over and I looked down in this here's the stairwells that went down to the pit, the mechanical room and everything.
In the motor room.
Yeah, I started down there and there was a very, very large raccoon that was not at all happy I was coming in this direction. So I'll tell you, Bill Cotter can back up a staircase very, very quickly.
Yeah, my father used to when he used to take me there in the early 70s, he used to sit down and he would tell me to press the button for the elevator and see if it comes down.
And did it?
No. I wish it did.
Now here's the same view that we had before. You can see, as I mentioned, they cut out the piece of the benches here so you can get up to the time capsule. You can see how this used to go all the way around, and I don't think it shows here. No, you can see just a tiny vestige of where the bracket was to hold the time capsule down. This is back when the tent was still all white. The yellow is just about gone here.
You can see after they jacked up the girder ring, they slid those I-beams in the columns just to hold it up,
Yep.
right? They
Got
just
that
slid
on
them right in there.
Yeah, I got that on my site. Fellow's father who worked on that thing gave me his photo album, and there's a whole thing of them using hydraulic jacks. I think it took 2 days to get it up there because they obviously had to get the whole thing done without tilting any part of it. It's some really great pictures of giant hydraulics and 20 guys standing around with hoses and compressors. That's the Astral Fountain, the big circular cage we've seen. And here you can
It's
see
really interesting how I was gonna say, it's interesting in some of your pictures of it, the fountain doesn't look that huge. You look at this, and maybe it's because the cars in the distance give it a false scale, but it looks like it's 2 or 3 times bigger around than it does in other pictures.
Yeah, it was
Something
really large. It was very, very, very good size. Here you can see how the mezzanine has settled over the years. This is the question about going back to what Irv said about the pilings. You know, that there's some concrete, some steel pilings, some wood pilings. So they think the tower, the towers themselves, the pilings holding up the roof are in good shape, but the whole mezzanine basically is shot. If you had needed to do anything, you'd have to, you know, really just take this out and redo it again. So you can see how it's all separated over time.
I would suspect that the ring girder is holding the concrete columns vertical. That's
Yep.
what's keeping them in alignment.
Probably.
Bill, remind me, was this pavilion intended to be torn down or intended to last?
They intended to tear it down, theoretically. I mean, that was their whole plan. And then at the end of the fair, Governor Nelson Rockefeller said, "Hey, I'm going to be a really nice guy and give this to you, to the city." And Robert Moses did not want it. He did not want this thing left at all because he saw no future case for it. And he actually tried to go to court to make the state tear it down. But when you're the governor and you appoint the judges on the court, you can figure out how that went. Now, this one I got a kick out of. The mezzanine floor, we saw last week the sign about keep heavy loads off the floor. Here's one of the workers at the Queen's Theater has parked his car and put a cover on it to store his car there on the terrazzo floor. But look
See,
at all
Moses would have had the last laugh because he wanted it torn down, and to this
Yeah.
day there's still no use for it, and it's a ruin.
No, But this, Brock, gives you an example of, again, this was all solid concrete or terrazzo at one point, but the water gets in there, makes a little crack, dirt falls in, a seed comes in, and plants start
Mhm.
growing. And then the plants really start escalating the destruction of the floor. But
Well, yeah, no, I know that. I just had assumed that the concrete was of a nature up high like that, that it would have been pretty solid, but I didn't think of the fact that if it was not, if it was somehow exposed, that top layer where water could sit,
yeah,
yeah, then all that stuff starts to happen.
yeah,
But yeah,
so
this is just purely though, I mean, even the damage you're seeing there, if it was properly maintained, would have never
yeah,
happened.
that's
And
right.
that's the problem. Nobody maintains the stuff, so it's gonna come apart. I mean, someday this thing's gonna come tumbling down unless they figure it out ahead of timing and spend the money to tear it down, because you know it's probably not gonna last over time.
Yeah, sad.
But I think the cables in the roof are badly corroded also.
Yep, they're talking about how to replace those. They've replaced the ones on the towers, but not on the roof.
And I think we should mention that our wonderful paint crew has made it come to life again.
Yeah. Basketball hoop in there for the workers. Oh, we talked last week about I knew I had the picture. These
Yeah,
are the
there's
ones
the cut
that go
cables.
up to the lights of the Unisphere for the World Capitals. For whatever reason, they just chopped them all off. I mean, why they did this, I don't know. You know, today, of course, you could come by with a wire tester and figure out where it went and redo it. But that's New York City at its best.
I think they covered it over because it was always disturbing that they left this thing open like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to figure out why somebody did it.
Well, the salvage value of copper. Yeah, look how many wires are in there.
Yeah, well, probably they had a distribution box up here, and this probably went to like Paris and Rome and London, who knows?
Well, you can see the main power cables came in those holes at the bottom.
Yep. Then this is the piece of artwork that they put in the granite panels. This is all post fair, but different views of things that were shown at the fair. Portable TVs were new at the house of which one was this house? What's the name of it? It's not Better Living. Those are the three houses that they put in there. This gets really slippery when it rains, by the way.
I think that portable TV may have said Zenith on it, but Zenith did not have any display at the fair.
Don't know. Yeah. So I know they had small TVs at Japan Pavilion, because I got pictures of a small Sony TV there. And again, back at this point, people are still laughing at Japan. Oh, Japanese cars, Japanese TVs, Japanese. Well,
Yeah.
they started showing us a thing or two very quickly thereafter. Which my
Look at
father.
the scale of it. Did you notice the scale of the Union Oil or Union Tire Company tire, and those, in other words, the scale of what was really built, that looks like it's a tire probably 3 times the diameter of the one they actually built when you look at the little cars going
Yeah,
over the top of it.
that's an artistic rendering, right?
Oh, no, I understand that. It just was.
This too is taking a real beating because of all the skateboarders.
Yeah, yeah. And again, because it's New York, we have to put graffiti everywhere. And the panorama still there. For folks that may not be familiar with it, they have little airplanes. They weren't running at 2002. when I took this, but the little airplanes that would come down and land at the airport, they basically they come down, dive through this tunnel, go underneath the airport, and go up again. They didn't figure out a way to make them go across the runway, but it was really great fun to be there and look and try to find your house. And oh, there's my school, and okay, my house is 4 blocks from the school. Okay, I can find the street. Go that sort of thing.
It'd be interesting to look at Manhattan and see how many of those buildings are still around today.
Yeah, they've updated it over time. This
Oh,
is
they have?
yeah, they've done several updates of it. In this particular one, like I said, the World Trade Center wasn't there during the fair, so this is a post-fair edition, the World Trade Center, but now it's been destroyed. This is the year after, so they left those as memoriam and they put the ribbon up on top. But a lot of these buildings here have been added since the fair. But they've done at least 2 upgrades of it that I know of. And they've been careful when they take the old pavilions, old buildings out. They keep them what you call it. The museum has them in storage. The ones that are taken out.
Those 4 buildings just at the bottom, just south of the towers there. One of those is the American Express Tower. Anyway, I designed the camera control software for 2 of those buildings. And
Really?
that's one of my first software jobs with a company called ABM Data Systems. And I stayed at the Vista Hotel across the street between the towers. But yeah, they ran my camera control software in those buildings.
That's kind of neat.
Wow.
Madison Square Garden. It's a very impressive model.
How do you climb onto it to work on it?
They what you call it, can take it apart. They can take out a panel and let you get to another piece of it, and you can pop up from down below. They also will do a thing to raise money. They have a thing where you can go and stand on certain parts of it. They put you on cloth boots, and they have you go out and stand like a Colossus in the East River or the Hudson River, and they'll take pictures, and they auction that off each year. At things like the Met Gala or something. Big bucks for you to stand there on the model.
Bill,
Now,
I think I remember a gag picture that Al Fisher took. Do you remember that one where his head is coming through the panel?
Yeah, that's at the model pavilion at the what you call it, the World's Fair model. During the building of the fair, I've got that one where his head's sticking up. That wasn't
Yeah,
this model. Yeah,
It's a
right.
pavilion to look like somebody's head.
yeah. Now during the fair,
How do you dust the thing? How do you keep all
What's
the
that?
dust off? How do you dust it?
what's that? How do you dust it? Yeah, carefully. I
How
think
do you dust all this?
they probably blow air on it. During the fair, you had a simulated helicopter ride that went around and went up and down,
That's
bobbing like a helicopter would. And Lowell Thomas came out and they would simulate going day to night, which they still do with the model. But this was in the area where I grew up in, Flatbush over here. So again, we have Floyd Bennett Field, and I could look and say, okay, I could find out my house. It was really kind of neat to see the whole thing. And again, nighttime, you can see they're simulating the passage of time on it. The poor little elevator, Joey's at the bottom, pushing the button.
Bill, can you go back one picture?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gloria Nash, who will probably be joining us next weekend, she just told us that the gazebo here, which has been there for quite a while, is now gone.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gone?
When you took this picture, were the fountains shut off by then?
Yeah.
They were off.
Yeah, the concrete was. I see if it's gone in this other set. That was 2002. This is now June 2nd, 2001. As I said, some days you have gray, gloomy skies, right? didn't matter. I was still gonna go and enjoy myself.
What was on that plot of land originally?
What's that?
What was on that lot originally?
General Motors.
Oh, GM, yeah, the ball field.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Another raccoon. This place was just swarming with raccoons. I had to take this through the fence, so you get some obstruction. Uh-oh, he's coming at me.
They got a great home there.
Yeah. This one looks like it should be rotated, so let me go fix that. There we go. Yeah, that by now they've covered up. You couldn't go down into the pit from the. It's covered up here. Let me save the
Well, it's
rotation.
filled with water.
Yep. So it looks like in this one, the concrete's gone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Or this tension ring ever gives way. Oh,
The Charles Abar and I have long phone calls where we talk about all that he's seen there, and it's just a miracle that no one has ever been killed by anything falling off that area.
yeah. Now this one, I forget the name of the artist that did the Diego Rivera, I think it might be. This rotated, and when I was there back around this point in time, you could hear inside this pylon a motor going rah, 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 and it didn't rotate. The next time I went back, it just sat there. But if you go up to the New York State Capitol, there's a one very much like this by the same artist right there at the reflecting pool at the New York State Capitol. And we were up there last year, I guess it was, and that one rotates.
Diego Rivera was Frida Kahlo's husband,
Oh, okay.
and he was asked by Rockefeller to come to a big, panel in one of the buildings, and so he made the mistake of putting a communist leader, and I can't remember, maybe it was Stalin. He put that in there, and Rockefeller told him, "You got to take that out. You can't keep that there." And they went back and forth, and Rivera said he wasn't going to take it out, and Rockefeller says he couldn't complete the mural, and he was almost done, and they wouldn't let him continue, and they painted it over because he had put Stalin in that mural.
Sounds like the Andy Warhol one too.
But
Andy Warhol, the mural that he did on the New York State Pavilion of New York's 10 Most Wanted, and they were most of them Italian Americans, so that got painted over.
I don't know if he did that or not. That kind of ended his time in New York. She was with him, but yeah.
The Long Island Railroad Station. You can still, if you go into the area today, you can see the holes in the concrete where the turnstiles are bolted down. Been a while since this had water in it, huh, Joey?
Yeah, it's all gone now.
Yeah.
In Flight Simulator, I just every now and then for kicks, I'll land a seaplane on those mountains. Shouldn't work, but it does.
Wonder if U.S. Steel was surprised how long that globe has lasted.
I think they probably predicted it. I mean, think about how many bridges they built that are still up.
Here's an interesting little story. I think I've told this before. We were at one of those World's Fair days at the Queen's Museum, and we were at I think it was Peter Levens. Bill, do you remember Peter Levens?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was doing uh, a whole photo session on all his rare photos, and he told us a great story about the people from U.S. Steel wanted to play a practical joke on I think it was Clark and Rapano who built the Unisphere, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a real stormy night, windy, stormy night, gale force winds in New York City. And they called up the head architect in the middle of the night and told him that the Unisphere had blown off its base and was rolling through the park. I'll never
That could
forget
actually
that. That was hilarious.
That could actually happen.
made his night, huh?
Yeah.
Here's where the thing was attached up at the to hold the time capsule base.
When are they gonna open those, or are they?
5,000 years. So I guess they were opening it up in the
The
year
70th century.
yeah,
They'll
65.
never remember that they were there.
Oh no, no. And I hate to think what the condition of anything in there would be.
Well, it'd be interesting to see them open it. I mean, I think they'd make a big deal about it.
Well,
That could be under
5,000
the ocean.
Obviously, I'm wrong.
That'll be under the ocean in 5,000 years.
Yeah, there won't be any sign of it in
I'll
5,000
be
years.
dead and gone by the time they open those things. If they ever do.
Yeah. So here's a kind of gray and gloomy day, Manhattan off in the background, but again, mentioned last week, the yellow paint's going already. Here's the cables, as mentioned. The floors are actually held by these cables from the ceiling. In the big renovation they've been doing at the towers for the last, whatever, 5 years, they've been replacing cables as needed to maintain the integrity. You can see on a windy day how the fountains would come off to the side. Now this day looks like, boy, this would be a day for the time machine, huh? There's
Nobody there.
Yeah, no one there.
Yeah.
I don't have a date on this one, but the brass rails look pretty good. Here's the concrete base again. They just look nicer with the concrete as opposed to seeing the structural
Yeah.
stuff. Foreign navies in town, so they're out enjoying their day there. And you can see how many people have their cameras. That would have been me all the time with whatever camera my Uncle Steve had passed down then. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. This one, I took the kids out. Up at the top of the Better Living Center.
Now, this looks like it might be an older picture. The brass
Yeah.
rails are looking kind of,
Kind of
Filthy.
tacky, yeah.
yeah.
That
Hey,
theme,
yeah.
peaceful understanding. The theme,
Yeah.
peaceful understanding. Anybody ever do a survey and ask people what they thought that meant?
Of what?
Peace through understanding. Do people ever ask what does that mean?
Nah, not that I know of. I can tell this is 65. There's 2 clues. Anybody know what they are? Over here is the roof for the GE line.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And over here, the Pan American Highway Gardens are now a go-kart track.
Okay.
Ah,
Speak of
Yeah,
the-
you can't, well, oh, there it is. The tower. The towers, you can also see the painting on the towers for the Skyway. Didn't that change?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they did repaint.
Yeah, I
them.
couldn't, in the first picture, I couldn't see it, but when you zoomed in like this, there it stands out.
Yeah. Again, little things they added in here. I've got a really neat picture that came of this stand. Uh, it's a photo stand, and they're selling film.
Once you get into the queue, is there any way to leave? You decide it's not worth waiting? How do you get out of there?
You had to push out past 10,000 people, I guess. But
Is there a
I've got
bathroom in there?
one of the
They should have a bathroom in there too.
yeah, you learn in advance. Oh, I'm sure you could, if you were athletic, climb over the wall. But I've got a great shot of this where this is a roll of black and white film, and then down below this sign is showing 5 souvenir movies of the fair, and it was just one of those things where you're going through pictures, throwing through pictures, and then a beautiful shot of this pavilion showing up. But who would go to the World's Fair and buy a roll of black and white film? Not me.
Was that the same picture from last week, or is this another fair goer and his picture?
And another one, yeah, we saw this, the journal area. Again, what happens is you get up here to like the top of the Better Living Center. You're having a dinner or lunch out here at the Hilton restaurant, and you're taking pictures. So your picture and my picture taken from the same restaurant are going to look pretty much the same. More miscellaneous dates coming up here. Again, early in the year, because it's still Louisiana's Bourbon Street. And do people know what this guy's doing?
Fishing for
He's
coins.
fishing. They had the trout stream and you could catch fish. Not a smart idea. Daddy, I caught
You
a
don't think
fish.
or he's
gonna
pulling
carry
money
you
out of the
this
fountain.
6 hours.
Well, you used to be able to fish at Disneyland, and I don't know
Yeah.
what you did with the fish there.
After a while, they went to catch and release because they realized everybody was dropping them in trash cans. So people last week, we saw the outside of Bourbon Street and said what a dull outside wall it was, which they did liven up over time. But this was inside of Bourbon Street, which was a dull, uninteresting wall inside. But here you had a bar. If we go down below here, they had a doll museum in here that you could go in. They had all these little gift shops, and they had floats that were done for they tried for a short period of time doing a parade through the fairgrounds to lead you back in that Pied Piper mode that I've mentioned so often. So some belle would be sitting out here and waving as the bathing beauty. These floats took a hell of a beating, didn't last very long at all, because in between parades they left them out here and people climbed up on them and just beat the crap out of them. But this is the glory of New Orleans. Sweden had all sorts of stuff about glassware and jet engines and fighter planes and cars and stuff. Back to Alaska. I've tried to match this to the bear that was on display at the 62 Seattle World's Fair, the Alaska Pavilion. I'm not sure it's the same bear or not. West Virginia. Now he's on an electric cart that they would, again, Pied Piper type, take the cover off the cart. Guy would drive around. Imagine, what was your summer job? I drove a buffalo around the World's Fair. But
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be the way they would try to get people to come back to Montana. He would take the cover off. There's a golf cart underneath it. He'd drive it around and people would follow the buffalo. This is a scene right out of a postcard. They gave out this postcard for free. This is not of the postcard, but it's pretty close to the same thing. Again, I get a kick out of you're at New York World's Fair, and how many people from the fair are going to go and think about it getting cattle feed? Yeah, they brought them in. Part of Montana. All built in Montana, taken apart and reassembled at the fair. Inside Montana, one of the exhibits inside, beaver chewing away there. The fleet's in town, chatting up a young lady. Then we hop over to Hollywood, USA. So they were recreating films of the time. So here they are doing South Pacific. Their version of Bali High is a little different than what I would envision, but it doesn't look like a typical native dance, does it?
No. It actually looks more like an African dance. Those are African costumes, not Hawaiian.
Yeah. Does look more that way, but I guess I don't know. He's got sharp tooth necklace or something here.
Yeah.
And these are all local people from there that they brought into New York. This
Yeah,
is probably their first trip to New York City.
I have some pictures of gals dressed as dance hall gals that were working at the restaurant there in at the
Yeah.
pavilion, and thinking, again, summer job, dress up as Miss Kitty and sling hash. Okay, then inside, this was a model used for the movie Cleopatra. They had a whole big thing about Cecil B. DeMille and some of the epics and stuff he did. Concept artwork for the movie The Ten Commandments. Yeah, here again, local gal, local guy. They recreated. I'd love to. I'll have to go and see if I could find another view of the sign and see what they changed here. But they had.
Bill, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you just go back 2 photos to that ship again? Wow. Okay. Okay. We in our collection we have one of the Roman soldiers that
Okay.
was used. Yeah, that was used probably in this film, but mostly used in Ben-Hur. So I'm wondering they might be the same.
Could be.
If you can send me this photo, Bill, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, hang on one second, Joey. Let me make a note of it.
Yeah, they were used in long shots. So it would look like there were people on the galley, on the deck.
Yeah, I'll get you a copy of it.
Okay, thanks.
The King and I. Again, what was your summer job? I played Cleopatra. Probably a good Brooklyn girl with an accent to match, right? Use Mark Antony, huh? Yeah. But again, this was big stuff. If you were in New York, you'd never have seen Hollywood or anything, and now here's pieces of famous movies, and you could get your picture taken. And as you saw, you could wander through these sets, and they did little reenactments. But when the actors and actresses weren't out, you could go and sit on Cleopatra's throne yourself. Inside Mexico with a statue, very colorful. Austria became a ski lodge until it burned down a few years ago. This is the Wycliffe Bible translators, where they had totem poles of all the places they had gone to translate the Bible, and in the background, the British Lion pub. All right, let me get the next batch. Set 18, picture 15 for Joey. Got it.
Yeah, I wonder how many visitors mistook Austria for Australia and wonder why there weren't kangaroos.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
probably so. So we're in August of '65. We've just gotten off the subway and we're on our way into the fair. And we are dressed up with our finest. We've got our pearl necklaces on and we're all set to go. Wycliffe was smart. And again, people in '64, they didn't have this little walkway here, but so many people were just trampling their bushes and climbing up to get their picture taken. They added the signage here. So when the pictures were taken, now they had their name. And they made it convenient and put a little walkway in there. Masonic Temple. This again is Korea, and they had a brass rail here, out and back. Again, it's 65 edition. This was originally supposed to be the Argentinian pavilion. They built the whole building and then decided they didn't have money to put anything in it or staff it. So
Looks like he's,
act of desperation, Moses had it filled up with art from Queens Art Museum. And then they said they couldn't afford to come back and keep operating it for 65. So they
looks like he's about to lose his head there.
what's that? Oh yeah, right.
He's about to lose his head.
They changed this into the Canadian Beer Parlor and Discotheque.
That
It's,
Let's go check.
Wow.
where is everybody?
Yeah, let's take a picture of Aunt Susan, Jane, and whatever. Let's make them real small. They're getting to go to the Festival of Gas Pavilion, have lunch there. IBM. Made some of the people go away again. Remember the Twilight Zone with Billy Mooney sending people to the cornfield?
yeah.
Yeah, these people annoyed me. They were very, very bad people.
Yeah.
Cornfield. So all of you people watching, you better be careful. You piss me off, you're in the cornfield. If you were a member of any of the Mormon churches around the area, you were encouraged to bring your flowers in and put them on display at the fountains area they have here. So this would be, I don't know, Mrs. So and such's garden in the back. Out here, it was easier just to go with fake flowers and that sort of thing. But it was a very big thing. Just like if your kids are dancing at the fair, you go and you pay to have everybody come and see your kids dance. Well, people came and paid money to see their flowers at the fair. This statue is now at the Mormon Church out here in West LA. Oh, they're gone too. Last Supper statue, there were two of them. That they had this one here and then another one carved out of wood. Down below here, very utilitarian building. That's because it's one of the security and first aid structures for the fair. Over to Illinois. Chrysler. Hey, we got a feather hat. I think that's our first feather hat of the day. Christian Science became a church out in Poway, California. Gone now. Oh, wow. You can get a hamburger for 30 cents, Italian ice. You know, a great view of the golf cart here. So again, just sit in it, drive your buffalo around, and the kids were obviously impressed.
That's
It's
very
just so bizarre, though, to think, who came up with the idea of, why don't we motorize one of the buffalo and drive them around? Matter of fact, I have another picture where so many people were petting the buffalo that it was getting to be thread worn in some spots. So there'll be signs where they'll have signs, please don't pet the buffalo.
I think today those little kids are about 70 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's frightening, isn't it?
And before
Actually,
they
in that last picture, you can see the railing they put up around it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there's
you
somebody
know-
standing behind it.
Yep. As I said, the railings, don't
Oh,
matter.
the railing.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
So that's one of the jobs they gave us as Boy Scouts. we got these really neat red jackets. You got the red campaign hat. You had to give them back at the end, but you would stand here and tell people not to do it. I will tell you from personal experience, you can tell a New York City truck driver, sir, you're not supposed to step over that. He's going to tell you in no uncertain terms what to do. So the things haven't changed. 90% of the people listen to the other 10% were, what you going to do about it? You want a piece of me? Come here. Yeah. No, sir. Have a nice time.
See if I help your mother across the street.
Yeah. Help your mother in front of a truck.
Look how nice it used to look.
And then down here, you could pick up a nice little brochure walking into the pavilion. And again, you can get some nice details out of some of these over here. The Rathskeller restaurant, you know, what they're serving, luncheon's only $1, and you can get a buffet dinner. Looks like they're not open for the day yet. The gates are down.
No waffles for you.
Yep.
Waffle Nazi.
Again, you wonder where some of these things went. You know, somebody didn't have this elephant somewhere. Yeah, yellow. Oh, it looks like a taxi. That's why it's yellow.
Still amazes me. People would drive by there, see these fantastic buildings, and it would never occur to them to go in and see the fair.
Yeah.
So many people just drove by but never went in there.
No.
That's a Buick.
You know, what's the little old car here? Any idea?
I zoom in. Almost looks like a VW, but not, maybe not.
No, I
No,
don't
it's a
think
little
so.
rounded.
It's an
car.
old
No,
man.
that isn't that a bug?
Yeah. That might be a bug, might be an early bug.
I think it's a convertible. The bug convertible, because the top is a little bit weird on it, but the rest of it looks just like the bug
Oh, okay.
or the beetle.
Yeah.
You know, I can do the same thing that you guys are doing about cars, but I can do it with horses. I can tell you what kind of horses. Of course, you don't have any pictures of horses on here, so
Oh, we do. We'll get
I'm not going to worry about it.
So you can tell me what year the horse was?
No, I can tell you what the breed is.
Yeah.
I can
Oh.
tell you, might be able to tell you what year, but you got to look in their mouth.
Was that a model of the Belgian Village? Was that
That's
a
not
model
gonna
of the
happen.
Belgian Village? 2 shots back.
What?
What's that?
2 shots back. Was that a model of the Belgian Village?
No,
Right
this
there.
when you went into the Ford Pavilion, this was the International Gardens that they built up inside, or International Village. The Ford International dealers are all complaining that Ford was putting all the advertising money into the fair, which they were spending a fortune on. So they built, actually, Disney built these models of different cities around the world where Ford vehicles were sold. So down below, there'd be a plaque out here describing which country, which city, and then some of them were mechanized. They had, pigeons that would bob up and down the street. They added this section of the Beatles in with somebody having their pictures taken with them and that sort of thing. But these are just all things that were done by WED. After the fair, they were crated up, sent back to Ford, and they've never been seen since. So maybe they're in some Ford warehouse someplace.
That was Raleigh Crump's work here, the Auto Parts Orchestra.
The Auto Parts Harmonic Orchestra.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all car parts.
Yeah, they used that again at somewhere else, I think. But
They used it Hemisphere 68, but instead of the Auto Parts Harmonic Orchestra, it was turned to something about the something band. They downgraded the name for Texas, and it was painted in very bright neon type colors. And after Hemisphere, again, it disappeared. Nobody knows what became of it.
yeah, I remember hearing Raleigh talk about that a lot. He was quite fond of it.
Yeah.
Didn't Ward Kimball too? Wasn't he part of it?
I don't know. It looks like something Ward might be a part of.
It was.
Yeah.
I think this was all Raleigh. I don't think Ward was
Really?
involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
I read something about that.
And then over to Chrysler, some of these things were mechanized again, all car parts. You can see some of them obviously are wheels and, you know, front ends, but they were mechanized, so this guy would chomp up and down. And he is the Dragonaut. So
Hmm.
then in the background, they were presided over by the zookeeper, again, made out of car parts. For whatever reason, a town in New Jersey bought the zookeeper and had it at their beach for years until he finally rusted out and had to be taken down. But his head would turn, his arms would lift up, that sort of thing, and his eyes lit up. He was keeping an eye over his zoo. And our famous dinosaurs from Sinclair.
Happily retired in Texas.
Yep.
Along with that one.
Forward. I'm just scanning now a bunch of pictures from the guy took in 1965 of General Motors. He got some really nice shots of the interior of the concept cars and the satellite displays and some other stuff. So I'm enjoying working in those right now. But
I
we
look
see
forward to putting them up here.
what's that?
I look forward to you showing them here. That'd be an interior shots. As you said, there aren't so many of them. I like to see them.
Yeah, I've got the box of them right here, and it's labeled World's Fair Night, General Motors Building Inside, Ektachrome, General Motors 665. So that's what I started working on earlier this morning. So we have ice cream bars and stuff in the background here, and you know, again, you could go see just the exhibits if you just wanted to see the cars and everything else without getting on the Futurama ride. Ford had an exhibit, I mean, a doorway. Bell had an exhibit. Everybody would let you go see their exhibits without waiting on the ride, because that was the main reason they wanted you there, to see the exhibits. So if you didn't want to wait 2.5 hours, but you wanted to go see the exhibits, you could just go in the side door.
Look at that old-fashioned mailbox.
Yes, yep.
What are those signs on the far right? It says Galaxy something.
Galaxy
Right.
Craft, it looks like it said.
Where's that?
On the far right.
Far right, about midway up, it looked like in the picture.
Galaxy
All
crap.
right. Oh, this
Yeah,
is
now
money-
upright.
This
So
over here is money of the world. This machine here, you could go and put a quarter in, and then you get coins out from around the world. They had that, and they also had stamps of the world. You would have liked that, Brock. There's something
Yeah,
else.
further up. Galaxy Cafeteria.
Cafeteria, is that it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't quite see there. I see all your small pictures, but there's the Galaxy Cafeteria. And somebody smashed this sign out, so I have to go and find another sign showing us a picture of what that was. We're over at Meadow Photo Supply. Meadow had the contract to sell film at the fair because of antitrust laws. Kodak was not able to sell its own film to you directly. They had to sell it to a dealer who then would sell it to you. So Meadow had this thing, and again, if it could encourage you to come and take silly pictures and use up more film, so much the better.
So you couldn't buy Kodak film at the Kodak Pavilion?
This was next door to Kodak. They were
Oh,
actually
okay.
on the same physical property, but then they had those little kiosks around too that we saw earlier. But Kodak itself could not sell you film. You had to go through a dealer.
Ah, okay.
And Meadow had that same contract at the 39 World's Fair because of the same restriction that the antitrust law was still had been in effect then. And so this was a great deal for Meadow. You know, think how many rolls of film got sold at that fair. Okay, what kind of horses are these, young lady?
Yeah.
Clydesdale.
No. Feet are too small.
Cody, you still with us? Oh,
They're draft horses.
Oh, okay, there we
They're
are.
like-
That's
Probably Percheron.
Yes, I believe they're Percherons.
Yeah.
And there's our obligatory nun. As I mentioned, I think it was last week, a guy bought the horses and all the rig and everything after the fair as a present for his wife, who was pronounced in the newspaper as not being amused.
I would have been delighted. I would have been on cloud nine.
I bet.
Cloud
Look at those.
nine.
I was
I
gonna say,
don't
look at those
Do that. for
masks
me.
that they're wearing or whatever. I wonder how comfortable the horse felt with all that stuff on its head and face.
I
Well,
probably,
he probably wasn't all that comfy cozy, but he put up with it.
yeah,
Okay.
better than having a Hoss Cartwright sitting on your back. Anybody happen to know the name of Hoss Cartwright's horse, the real horse that they used for Bonanza?
I mean, a buckskin that the father rode.
No,
Yeah.
the one that Hoss Cartwright rode. The horse's name was Chubby.
Oh, I didn't
Chubby.
watch a lot of Gunsmoke. I wouldn't have known that. I know about the buckskin because they donated him. The guy that was the father, he bought him, and then after that, a number of years, he donated him to a therapeutic horseback ride.
Oh, that's neat.
So he was a good boy.
Lauren Green.
Lauren Green, that's it, Lauren Green. And I don't remember the name of the horse.
Otherwise known as Commander Adama.
Yep. Galactica. I actually was watching a couple of Galactica episodes recently. That's
Yeah,
when you're home from the hospital, don't have a lot to do. Watch old Galactica episodes.
yeah. I've been on a binge lately of the Wild Wild West. I've been enjoying those.
Oh yeah, I've got a box set of those I have to finish.
Yeah, I got that. Then up on the Kodak moon roof. I also was watching episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. I don't know how that show stayed on the air.
The
Oh,
first
that
season I don't
was
know.
a good one.
Oh, the first season was this. Oh, God, we're gonna do a whole talk on what's wrong with that sometimes.
Yeah, but by season 3 or 4 it was okay, but boy, the first season howled at the moon.
They have so many Star Trek offshoots and so many Star Wars offshoots. I
Yeah.
mean, I think Disney is only producing Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see much else.
This I thought was a nice shot of the fountain down below. Again, you can see the walkway that we saw earlier today coming in. So the tide has not come up and filled it all in. But down below we have Clairol, we have Parker Penn. Again, this is up at the top of the Better Living Center.
Notice the Verrazano Narrow Bridge in the upper right.
Mm-hmm.
Verrazano Narrow Bridge. You can see the towers.
Oh yeah,
No, that's the Whitestone.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to get out of this.
Verrazano's the off to
That's
the
the
side.
Whitestone?
The Whitestone.
Yeah, that's the Whitestone Bridge. Yeah.
I don't know. Those towers certainly look like the Verrazano.
They look pretty close to identical, but the Verrazano would be off to the side.
And that Gene Parker thing.
Those old planes sure made a lot of smoke, didn't they?
Yeah, during takeoff. Yeah.
A lot of noise too.
Yeah, throw water into the exhaust to give them more boost.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah. They inject water into the engine to give more boost. Again, we can tell this is 65 because we got the Pan American Highway Gardens down here. And, again, you go to the World's Fair, you got all the wonderful things you can see. But look how many people lined up to watch the go-karts go by.
Well, probably the kids are on them.
You know what they're all out there for? They're waiting for the next crash.
Yeah. Mailman.
Mailman's here.
No, that's not
Yes.
me. That's somebody else's mailman. We were at an accident last week where a guy was going along looking at his phone and went off the side of the road, flipped his car over. And so we're taking care of that. And all of a sudden, bang, somebody else is driving by, looking at the thing, slowed down. The guy behind him went right into him and nailed him. So it's like, people love accidents. I do not know what they find so fascinating about them. This is, again, someday I hope to find an interior shot, but here's the VIP level at Pepsi-Cola. And again, you can start dating the pictures if you start trying to figure out when they had all the various ones that were up here at Kodak. Bunch of pictures I did yesterday. The guy had to be in love with the rocket thrower. I mean, he got the rocket thrower from 6 different sides, angles up. I mean, okay, it's kind of cool, but when you're scanning away and there's one after another, you go, I hope there's something else in this box.
After they took the sneakers off of it.
Yeah. Olmec Head, and then the Fiesta del Sol restaurant over in Mexico. Beer garden of the Hungry Dragon. And they don't have Italian ices, notice.
Shouldn't that have been the Thirsty Dragon?
Yeah. But we have
Mm,
Oriental ices and a nut sundae on a stick.
Nut Sunday on a what the?
Probably a frozen banana. Again, I'm going to go to the Hungry Dragon restaurant because what am I going to get? I'm going to get a sirloin steak meal. But
With
this
a
guy
nut
did it
sundae.
right. He got his beer. And date this in 65. Excuse me. Indonesia closed. Christian Science.
I wonder where those things ended up.
A lot of these ended up going to places like the Buffalo Fairgrounds in New York had them for quite a few years. And,
No, I'm sorry. It was the picture before. I didn't get it out fast enough.
Sorry. Okay, these, yeah, you wonder
Yeah,
where.
because those are kind of pretty.
Yeah. I don't know, like stained glass, right?
Yeah. Joey,
Why
do
they
you
got
have
a
them in
pink
your
stripe?
yard?
You'd
Why
like
do you
to
have a
think-
No,
pink
I would-
stripe on a white?
I was thinking the same thing you were, Brock. I really like those.
yeah, you think you hope somebody saved them.
Yeah.
Somebody really liked them, saved them. Why they got a
Yeah.
pink stripe there?
Yeah, the trams here ended up going to all sorts of places, and somebody just sent me a picture on because they were you might Brock, Chris Kelly. She evidently was from Stamford, Connecticut, and she was sent me a link. There was somebody that was doing pictures of. Do you remember this day on the boardwalk? And there was one of these trams on the boardwalk in Stamford, Connecticut. So I said, "Oh, that's cool. I've never seen that before." So I've seen them in Buffalo. Now we're in Stamford. So it's interesting how little bits of connections of, if I didn't know Chris and, for the wed days and everything, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Wonder if there are any left out there that you can still see.
No, I think they're pretty much, you can imagine the mileage on those things over all the
yeah.
years. The ones in Buffalo basically rotted away for over time.
Mhm.
Now, if I was GE, I would have had a crew replacing the knife.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't speak too well for GE longevity, does it?
No. There's a great big beautiful burnt out light bulb.
I
Okay,
imagine-
you got me questioning too. Couple slides back, Irv was wondering what the pink stripe in
Pink
the road.
Here?
That's
Well-
the path for the tram.
Yeah.
That's the path for the tram, I think.
Well, they're 2 different colors, so probably one route, one place. He's probably following the red route. But also sometimes they had, parades. They would tell the kids or whatever just march down.
Yeah, Pasadena does that. They have the stripes they paint on
Yeah,
their
for the
streets that are
Tournament
for
of Roses.
the bands and the floats to follow.
Yeah, the Tournament of
Yeah.
Roses parade. They paint a
Yeah, that
stripe
makes-
down the street.
There's your light fixtures.
I know, I want one of those so bad. I begged my father to buy one post fair, and he would just look at me and say, "You're strange."
They're about 6 feet. That's about 6 feet across too.
Yeah, they're just huge, and they, like I said,
Each cube is about a foot.
there was a lot. Actually about 14 inches. Yeah. There was a lot right off the Long Island Expressway selling them for years and years and years. And I kept, every time we went down, I would beg them to buy me one.
Hmm.
Never
How
we
much
got-
did they
saw,
want? How much did they want for them at the time?
You know, I don't know if I even got him to even ask, or
Oh.
there's just no way in our house on Long Island that would have fit. I mean, when you get to those, they are just huge, and the poles and everything are huge. Because I do know some people that have them, and I go to the house and go, oh, my dad was smarter than I was. So
We've talked before about the tremendous engineering that went into those, and eventually was just a throwaway. But they were designed for even lighting and even sound coverage and so
Yeah.
forth. They weren't just thrown up to look good.
yeah, I came sort of close to getting a light years ago when they took them out of the Oklahoma State Fair, and they were putting them for sale, and there was a guy that said, I'm gonna be bringing them back to LA on a trailer. Do you want one? And I thought about it, and then I said, oh, I'm gonna need to have the concrete dug out on the patio by the pool to mount this thing, and I just decided it was going to be, the logistics were going to be too much. Now, of course, I wish I had bought it and I could have, done it over time, but it was one of those things I had to decide within an hour if I wanted it or not. And it was too much. So that's the Polynesian restaurant there, is the outside of it. We got a couple of clouds that day over in Indonesia. You can tell this is 64 because there were 3 junks in 64 and then 2 of them in 65. They took this out so they could put in another gift shop. No signs yet for the Hungry Dragon restaurant. You wonder where these gates, like this Chinese gate, ended up. Polynesia. Because that really says Polynesia, right?
Yeah.
64 and 65, this became the United Nations. This is in the back side of the Philippine Pavilion. You can see more of the artwork and stuff, but they had a thing out here selling Filipino handicrafts, mostly made out of wood. But this was a whole big souvenir stand area over here. Looking out over Africa. Inside India. Oh, sorry, Indonesia. Again, early, it's in 64. They haven't put the roof over the dancing area yet.
In fact, you just imagine people tripping over those microphone cables.
Yeah, I was thinking they're really well hidden, aren't they?
Yeah. How much would it have taken to bury those microphone cables?
You look at things with a different eye today, right?
Yeah.
It's you see so many things like a loudspeaker bolted to a wall with a wire coming down, no attempt to hide it. Anybody know her name? It's Susie the giraffe, and she liked to go to the restaurant up here and beg for food.
How do you know that?
What's that?
How'd you
That's
know that?
real. That's a real giraffe.
Oh, it's a real giraffe, and I've got pictures of the people feeding Susie, and they had to make sure they told people to only feed things that she could eat. That they warned people about, you can't give her a steak dinner or anything. But yeah, that was a big thing to go to the Treehouse restaurant and feed a live giraffe.
Some of that stuff could have killed her.
Yeah, well, they watched it, and she got to spend her winter vacation at the Bronx Zoo.
She survived the fair.
Yep, and she went back home, I believe, after the fair.
And lived on a diet of Belgian waffles ever after.
Inside Indonesia. Over to UAR Egypt. That's the end of that one. All right, I think we got time for another here. All right, so this batch is 64.
Bill, go back a slide, would you?
We just switched.
Okay.
I don't know.
One more.
Now I gotta go open up the folder. 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
That figurine, that figurehead, that figurine there. I got a little. I'll get it out. I got a little 8-inch, 10-inch tall wooden model that looks just like that. I mean, somebody sculpted it out of some kind of wood. I don't know. I guess it came from Africa or something like that. But it looks just exactly like that. It caught my attention.
Well, I believe he's actually a fertility god. So be careful with that model in your house.
No wonder I have 15 children.
Okay, let's go back here.
Stop rubbing its belly, Baron.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the Vatican Pavilion waiting on the line, and we get to see a whole bunch of things. We get to see the Astral Fountain, and we get to go see the New York State Pavilion. The Royal Jordanian Army Band marched through the fairground. Again, people were real big on the Pied Piper concept.
You know, that's a funny story. I have one of my college professors who was on my graduate committee. He taught the structural architecture during college, and nice guy. He was also the chaperone when I studied in London for 6 months. But he had himself, he must have had 13 children. I couldn't figure it out. He had just a slew of kids.
You could tell him what causes that, and you might be able to help him. So now, for these people, you got to have real money here because you've hired your escorter to take you up to sit in comfort to watch the fireworks. So all during the fireworks show, they're going boom, boom. Everybody's going ah, and the meter here is going ka-ching, ka-ching.
What does it say under the Greyhound?
Yes, I think it's just the Greyhound logo underneath.
Now, it looks like there's words below the Greyhound logo.
Yeah, it might be the name.
Escorter, I think, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
escorter. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's such a neat thing. I like. I've always loved those little escorters. I wish there was one that you could go look at somewhere.
Yeah, there's at least 4 of them that are still running around. We got 3 of them for the Tomorrowland movie. And then one of them kept breaking down, so it was used basically for static shots. Santa Maria. And then, a cover band doing Beatles type music outside the puppet show.
Pupipere.
And then again, you can tell this is 64 because it's still Texas to Broadway with Love. The Continental Circus. Again, why would I pay to go to a circus and see elephants? So nobody did, and it didn't last long. And this is Wonder World, the show that they had there. That again, this is the one where the guy flew around with the jetpack and everything else. And Leonardo had done a bunch of shows on Broadway. Was going to do this show here. Weird show, lots of crazy costumes, and was a huge flop because again, it cost money. People didn't want to go and see these stage shows. None of the stage shows made a success. Go inside and get your free coffee. Today, with the price of coffee, you can imagine nobody's going to be giving away free coffee. And she is over at Oregon. Uh-oh, that bear is going to take a finger or two. Again, you wonder where this went after the fair. You know, somebody having their backyard and the kids climb on it.
There was a story in the news this morning where the security company notified this woman not to come out of her house because there was a big brown bear on her porch. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, but it turned out it was actually the lady. She was in her
Oh,
brown
no.
sweats outside
Oh.
sweeping the porch.
Oh, good. That's
Big
embarrassing.
Brim.
Now, this horse was supposed to be with these feet are supposed to be on the ground, and he's supposed to be rearing up. What type of horse is this, Cody? Plastic.
Bronco.
But so many people try to climb on the horse to get their picture taken. He kept ripping out of the ground, so they finally just left it here at this slight angle. So that's 64. Then others in this box were 65.
It's a fiberglass horse.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any, very strange.
People wore away the grass from sitting on the wall so long.
Yeah. I've said before, even though the fair had all sorts of financial woes, they kept the flowers and everything looking really nice right up to the end. So early in the season, no trees, no leaves on the trees. The brass rails are looking better because they've been steam cleaned between seasons, so they're looking a bit more white. The solar fountain. One of the family phone booths over here. Look at all the people watching, people making a phone call. I mean, today, I wish people would stop making phone calls. You know, I was online yesterday to order something at a restaurant, and the lady behind me was a real estate agent. Oh, no, the code for the thing is so and such, and it's up the second stair. Don't go to the stairs on the right, but go upstairs. And, you know, everybody really needed to hear that. More mold cast lamps, Joey.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I noticed a couple of other photos with them in it.
Yeah. And as Carol knows, I love taking pictures of flowers where we travel, so I can relate to these. Not quite as nice a day on this one.
Really crowded there too.
Yep. And then there were some in this box that were not dated. So, Court of the United Nations, or Court of Nations, rather. So let's see if there's anything else worth jumping into today.
For nearly 7,000 years, humans.
All right, I'll do this last batch, then it's off to lunch. So Belgian Village is open. We got the carousel in place, which is now up in Montreal.
Families across Europe up until the
Somebody's got their microphone.
Cody's mic is live, I think.
Joey, could you mute yourself?
Cody.
No, it's Cody.
Cody, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. There you got it. This sign always bugs me, the way they did the thing. This is the end of democracy. But I mean, why they couldn't spelled it out better? I mean, the whole kerning of
Crazy.
whatever they did of the lettering is just stupid to me.
The whole Lincoln show is very racy, I understand.
Yeah, it's a racy exhibit. Come on in. Protestant Orthodox. Wonder if he did the fair today, what sort of crowd it would bring in.
Hard to say with all the amusement parks out there have raised the bar so high.
Yeah.
Plus the internet.
Yeah, you know, I love all the people. I had a season pass to go to the World's Fair. Well, I didn't sell them for 64, but you know, if they sold one, I definitely go. Now here, over here, we zoom in a little, is the Sinclair gas station of the future, which they only made the one. But again, this is 64. I can date this because of the circus tent. And again, if my father had driven in today, in that day, we'd be out here. We always parked in that same parking lot, came racing through the gate, try to get through this area as fast as possible and into the real fair.
We did the same thing. We parked the left side of the lake.
Yeah. I bought a huge collection, a book about yay thick of press clippings, and I'm going through it from 61 to 63, and there's a whole big article about a guy suing the Robert Moses because he was going to be putting in a whole midway there in the area, and he and Moses couldn't come to financial terms, so he pulled out, and he said he was suing for $23 million because he said he had lost $1 million that he had already put into buying all the rides that were coming, and he was cut out because Moses canceled the contract. He was cut out of $22 million worth of profits that he was going to make. And I really get a kick out of that, wondering if Moses had not maybe done him a favor by how much he lost.
Are these slides?
These are all slides.
Yeah, I was wondering because some of them looked a little grainy.
Yeah, sometimes they're really what you call it, the way they're exposed. You know, they're really dark. It takes an awful lot of light to you know, to bring them back. Band performing at New England on the Village Green. Another box I did yesterday had some really nice views of the Singer Bowl. I'm looking forward to restoring those. And over here we can see, I can't make it the signage, if it's the Hall of Education or I guess the Demonstration Center sign was up here. So it's the Hall of Education. Boring. Yeah, still 64 because this was the pavilion. And it'd be Winston Churchill in 65. And more Moldcast for Joey.
Yes,
They're
they're
hiding all
everywhere.
over the place, right?
The Moldcast company was based in Newark.
Well, they certainly got a good deal going across the river here.
Yeah.
Ah, the map one was in good shape, right? So let's see, what part of the state are they in now? Wellsville, okay, down near the Pennsylvania border. Rockville. Houghton, not only do we have Houghton, but we have Houghton Center. You know, you live in New York for so many years and you get familiar with what's right around you. And that's one of the things we get a kick out of driving around when Carol and I take our vacations, going to so many of these small towns. It's some of them are really beautiful. Here's where Johnny Puro worked, the British Lane Pub. Again, there's the size of that fountain. Look how big the thing is. The VIP level, so close, and yet so far. In Expo 67, they had the full-size royal barge out on display. They added that in. I'm not a Mason, but evidently there's a big symbolic thing, part of the Masons, about crossing a bridge. So that was part of their display. Aztec calendar. I wonder if the Aztecs could have predicted that that lady would go away.
I have a model of that hanging on the wall.
Do you
About
really?
12 inches. Yep.
I
Yeah, it's
have
really
a little souvenir wall clock featuring that.
There
Yeah.
was a guy out at Knott's Berry Farm that he made one out there at Indian Trails.
Oh, neat.
He also made totem poles, and I think couple of the totem poles are still out there. They must have bought them from him or something. Cedar Fair.
Oh, nice to know this. Still there.
I'll take a picture of the fertility god and the Aztec calendar and post it to the World's Fair site so you can see it. Okay.
Oh, that'd be great.
To the web page.
Yeah, this is a statue underneath the New York State Pavilion. I've not been able to find out what the name of the statue is.
No, the U.S. Pavilion,
The U.S. Yeah. What did I say?
New York State.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, U.S. I'll have to stick this into Google reverse images and see if I can find it. They realized very early on that, oh, we should have made these names bigger. They made the pavilion big. So I've got pictures of where they took these things down and they put up letters about 3 times the size, but they're held up with masking tape while the glue is drying on them. And over at Billy Graham, very edge of Berlin there. Ah, well, somebody's knocked this one askew, but they haven't taken them all down yet. And let's see, what are we gonna have for lunch today? The roasted chicken platter, or roasted, oh, okay, $1.45. Wow, this is a good deal. So empty, nobody's sitting by the water.
I remember a parks guy telling me about the fountains, and I asked him why aren't they on full blast, and he said if one of them, if you were standing next to one and it went on, it would take your head off.
Yeah. Yeah. And these days, people would run out and stick their head in it to see what it felt like.
Yes.
And we'll say goodbye for the day with New York State firmly in our minds. So I hope people found a few things of difference there.
Today was great. I won't be around for the next 3 weeks. I'm going up to Jersey to visit the family.
Oh, hope you have a great time. Hope the weather's good
Yeah,
for
so
you.
next 2 Saturdays I won't be here. The 3rd Saturday I'll be back.
Okay.
Irv, I've got to say, you have one great looking office.
Oh, it's bright and cheerful. If you looked out my window, you can see the lake with the boats going by.
Wow.
So
It's bright and it's sunny.
speaking of that,
It's nice.
Joey,
What's
can
that?
you see?
Oh, yeah.
Irv,
Yeah.
we have the same
That's
taste
great.
in
Yeah,
in
with this,
woodwork.
Great furniture. Yeah,
6 panel doors and
that's nice.
Yeah,
all
most
for,
people say
I
you should
gotta
paint them all white.
Bye-bye.
Well, this
and we
house,
have,
this house.
and we
Bye, Cody.
also both have oak floors.
Yeah, that's a
I
beautiful
have-
home.
I have stuff everywhere. There's no way I'm going to show you what's actually behind.
Yeah, I noticed Carol blurs the background.
Oh, that's more cases of my all those boxes are films.
I can imagine you were a collector.
Wow.
Did I show you guys the car I did last?
Oh yes,
Last
you
week?
mentioned it. Yeah. Well, oh, that's
Yes,
beautiful.
there it is. All right. So yeah,
Oh, that's great.
it was a model. Yeah, sorry, it opens up. There we go. So I painted the inside. I painted all the controls and the floor mats and the seats with the two-tone, and there's all these little Fantastic Four, logos on everything.
Yeah, that's
on
really
the
great, Tom.
front,
I like that.
back.
That would look
Yeah.
right at home on Futurama.
Exactly. I mean, they practically copied that car from the World's Fair. So that's why I was extra interested in it. So yeah, metallic blue and number 9.
Well, I'll tell you the one I'm looking at over my laptop here is one of the concept cars and from GM, and yours would fit right in there with it.
Cool.
Super.
Yes, like I said, it's just a Disney store car from Fantastic Four, and then I just decided to repaint it. So I hadn't
Oh.
done anything like that since I was a little kid. And what was funny is I still had all the paints, all the tester paints. They were all still good, except
They
maybe
still
2 of
good,
them had dried up. Yep.
God, we used to go to the model shop and buy those little tiny jars. I don't know what they hold, like an
Yep.
ounce or something. You
Yeah,
know?
1
Seems like
ounce.
Tester Paint Company.
Tester
Yeah.
paints. Yeah.
Tester Paints.
But they also made model cement. Remember the tester cement?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The odor of that stuff. Wow.
Yeah, I used to build so many models,
Same. Yeah. Cars and trucks.
tanks
Oh, yeah,
and
here-
submarines.
Some of these even stay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm 12
Some
years
say
old.
vac-
There they are.
Some say
Tester
vacuum
Paint
form.
stores.
Yeah, no.
In my old neighborhood in Brooklyn, you would find on some of the side streets a lot of the test stores glue
Yeah.
tubes, because that was a very big time for the sniffing of glue.
That's
Oh yeah.
right. Yep. Yeah, I used to buy it. The tubes were one thing, but then I got the little bottle with a little brush, and that was nicer. You could do more
Yeah.
delicate work with a brush than with the tube. I
Yeah.
think I mentioned in a talk I worked across one summer, a summer job across the street from the Aurora Plastics factory on Long Island, and they would go in there and they'd have all these displays of all the models they had made and everything. And then they would, when they were giving new ones, putting new ones up, they would just get rid of the old ones. And sometimes the guys would come over to the gas station and say, hey, do you want some models? Man, if I had just taken my gas station pay and bought those model kits, not opened, and kept in a closet today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could write your own ticket for those.
Oh my God. I mean, they had some incredible models. And it was just a really neat thing to go and walk in the factory and all the machines are pressing and doing and everything. And it was, to me, I was in heaven. To them, it's just a job. Yeah, we'll look around, just don't touch anything. It was really cool. Well, we are supposed to have another warm week out here, so I don't know what everybody else's weather is like in the rest of the country, but you can definitely tell that spring is here, or spring left. I think summer's here already. It's yeah. So I'm looking forward to our trip to New York in September. It's gonna be a long, tough summer.
Well, Bill, I hope we can all get together again. That would be nice.
Yeah, let's see what we can work out.
Mhm.
We get in on the Wednesday and we're driving up your way, and then I'm going to try to go to the Catskill Museum on that Thursday. I don't know how close you are. I think it's in Ellenville.
Yeah, that's not far from where we are now. Yeah.
Yes, that's my plan on being at that museum on Thursday, which I think is the 12th or something like that. I'll send you the details, but we're going up that way, and then we're gonna drive by. We may actually, I don't know if Don knows it, but we may try to drive through his part of the country too. So
Yeah, but let me know when your plan's finalized. We can meet up somewhere.
yeah,
Definitely. 'Cause
It was-
we're approximately 1 hour from the Star Trek experience.
I was just gonna say we could really make Carol's day by going to the Star Trek experience again.
Nice.
Well, we'll have you may want to go because the shuttle will be open by then. The Galileo will be open then. So
Well, I know I'll enjoy it, but
well,
we'll
Carol and Mandy can go off and do something else.
they could go over to Santa's Village.
That's true. I want to go up there sometime.
Yeah.
So, but
Beth,
yeah.
all we need, Beth, is the Bramletts to visit.
Yes. Well, real quick before I go, Jim Brown may appreciate this. I get a message from a fellow named Fred Stern, who has done selling movies of the 64, a whole bunch of fairs, but mostly 64 fair for years on video. And he decided he wanted to get out of that particular thing. And he said, I sent you a box, and I've got about a 40-pound box of movies that Fred sent. Some really neat looking 16 millimeters and other things. So I'm looking forward to, again, that's what all the boxes behind Carol. I mean, the crap just keeps coming in. But this was one I wasn't even expecting. And I got an email. I sent you a box. And the mail lady comes to the door and says, what the hell do you collect? I told her I collect anvils. So. But Jim, if you see Fred, please, I sent him a thank you note, but if you see Fred, please tell him thank you for me, and I'll do my best to, turning back the ravages of time.
Yeah, I'll call him right after this. He also sent me a large box like that about 2 years ago. I was surprised he had even more of them.
Yeah, it's I don't even know what a whole bunch of them are. Like I said, some of them are in reels, some are just on cores. There's some 8mm stuff in there, some videotapes of different ones, different fairs. So I looked at it, started taking it out, and said, no, I got to go finish what I'm doing and something else. So
yeah, I've got a lot of things from Fred over the years, and if you can improve or add to that, I'd really be interested.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I can do them in close to 4K resolution of the 16 millimeters. So it should be a little bit step up from the 720s or whatever that Fred had over the years. And Jim, if you ever need any of that stuff transferred, let me know.
Yes, and well, if you transfer it and put it on your site or something, then we all could have it. And I might have some of his that you would probably want to scan to add to the collection. But
yeah,
it's a huge collection of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I just, where is that reel? Oh, here.
Disappeared into the lake. There he goes.
Yeah, I just got this one, which is, let's see what the name is. Right on here. Okay. Of course, it was backwards. So, but here it's Designs Across the Sky. And it's a really neat, I had a really, really lousy copy that somebody had done 15 years ago. You can imagine the resolution and everything, but a really nice travelogue of the 64 fair. And so I bought this, and now I've got to go work on this one. But, I probably can't make it out here. Happy Face, electronically inspected. So, but yeah, I mean, I like I said, I had this other video, which is, the resolution is so small, but it's a really great travelogue. And then some guy had this one and he wanted it really cheap. I said, I'll get it. So that's on my list, my pile of goodies to do. It's a sound travelogue, so that will take a little while, but it's great fun. And again, that's why Carol's name is up there as it is. My much better half. She is very understanding of all this. So, and I'm going to go take my better half to lunch now. So I will see.
I'll see you in 3 weeks. I'll be up in New Jersey.
Have a great vacation.
Have a nice time, Irv.
All right,
Yeah, thanks. South Jersey, near Philadelphia.
okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.